Hi everybody, it's Beatle Dave again, calling to you from Derbyshire in the UK. I hope you're all fine and dandy. I'm doing this video on my phone because I've done a couple today on my laptop and they haven't come out that good, so you're getting this as like a bonus today, so I hope you enjoy it. For this little video, well I say little, I don't know how long it's going to go on for, but for this video, this is going to be part one of probably three. We're going to be looking at the Beatles Anthology LPs. So obviously we're going to start off with Anthology 1, then there'll be Anthology 2 in a week or two, and then Anthology 3. That's what I'm going to do. I'm not going to do them all together because I think people might get a little bit bored. So this is the one we're looking at today, Beatles Anthology 1. And this was originally released in the UK in 1995. And it came out, this came out, I think, just before the TV series, the Anthology series came out as well. So everything on these albums is basically unreleased stuff up to that time, or was supposedly, although some of it had been out on bootlegs before, hadn't it? So the catalogue number on this is, bear with 1 second, 7243834444519. So on Apple, and obviously this was still part of EMI at the time, it was produced and directed by George Martin, additional research by Mark Lewisham, whatever happened to me, remixed engineer Jeff Emmerich, and the cover design was by Klaus Voormann, who also did the Revolver LP, didn't he? Cover. So basically this goes from the very beginnings of the Quarrymen in 1958, 56, 58. So there's like snippets of talking in this, and there is songs as well. It's basically the songs that we're going to be more interested in today than the snippet. So like I say, this is volume 1. It is a 3 LP set. So side 1 starts off with Free as a Bird. Then there's a speech, John Lennon. Then there's a recording of That'll Be the Day. That was a very, very early recording by the Quarrymen. It was once it done at Philips Studios in Liverpool, not Philips as in the big record label. That was the name of the bloke. Basically, it was just his front being wanted, I think. And then when you get In Spite of All Danger, which is a very, very early Beatles composition. Then you get a speech by Paul McCartney. Then it's Hallelujah, I Love Her So. Then you get You'll Be Mine. Then you get a speech by Paul. And it's My Bonnie. My Bonnie lies over the ocean. My Bonnie lies over the sea. Of course, that was the Beatles backed by, well, backing Tony Sheridan, wasn't it? And then side 1 finishes off. So then you got Ain't She Sweet, which again was recorded in Germany, but that did actually have John Lennon on vocals, didn't it? And then Cry for a Shadow, which was George Harrison and John Lennon instrumental. So that just gives you a taste of what's on him. So we'll look more into detail when we open this up. So like I say, it opens up like this, like it's a trifold. And the thing that's always got me about this, well, it hasn't got me, I just think it's a bit annoying in one way. I can see the funny side of it, is where you've got this picture here of the Beatles when Pete Best was still with them, wasn't he? And yet you've got Ringo's head stuck on it there, look. Don't know whether that was done on purpose or not, but alright, so let's have a look. Right, so this has got a little bit of water damage on it, just there. But apart from that, it is actually really, really nice condition. And these original ones are actually getting quite there now. I know they did re-release them with that magazine thing that they did a few years ago. They're all on Apple labels. So this is side 1, and then that is side 2. Quite a lightweight record. Sound quality on it is okay. But what you got to remember is a lot of the songs on these anthology LPs are either demos, or they've been done at home, or they're like live recordings and alternative takes. So side 2, you get Brian Was a Beautiful Guy. He presented as well. That's just John Lennon reminiscing, basically. Then you've got a snippet of Brian Epstein saying he's secured them a recording contract. Then you get the Decca audition song. So you get Searching, Three Cool Cats, The Chic of Our Beat, Like Dreamers Do, and Hello Little Girl. They were all recorded on the 1st of January 1962. Then it's another little bit of speaking. See, on the later ones you don't really get much like spoken bits in it. It's mainly just like songs. But so then you get, well, the recording tests by my artists. Again, that's by George Martin. Produced a record that was going to be released as Brian Epstein's sort of like memoirs, but I don't think it ever was released. So it's just like Brian Epstein talking about the artists he managed and got signed. Then you've got Besame Mucho and Love Me Do. They were recorded on the 6th of June 1962 and were basically the first recordings the Beatles did with George Martin. Then you've got How Do You Do It, which was originally going to be a Beatles single, wasn't it? Till I think the boys basically just says, look, it's okay, but we'd rather do our own stuff if it's going to be a single. Which was quite, you know, a strong thing to say in them days to a producer you'd only basically met, isn't it? It is quite a good version, but in all honesty, I think Joe and the Pacemakers did a hell of a lot of a better job of it. The Beatles recorded it, but I don't think the hearts were really in it, to be honest. I'm just going to put this down slightly. That's it. Okay. Like I say, I'm doing this on my phone, so I hope it comes out okay. Then you get Please Please Me. Again, that is a different version to other versions that are on other albums. Just bear with 1 sec. That was recorded on 11th of September 1962. At EMI Studios, because it never used to be called Abbey Road, did it, at the time? So that's sides 1 and 2. And now we'll take a look at what's on sides 3 and 4, shall we? Right, side 3 kicks off with the One After 909, and this is the original version that they tried to record in March 1963, and then obviously in 1969, didn't they? When they did the famous rooftop concert in January of 1969, they did that live, didn't they? But this one is very much a Mersey Beat version. It's very much, you know, as they would have performed it in the Cavern, if they ever did perform it in the Cavern. I think they did, didn't they? Then you've got Lend Me Your Comb, which is a live BBC recording. Then you've got I'll Get You, which was recorded at the London Palladium in October 1963, October the 13th, 1963. Wasn't that the same day that the word Beatlemania was used for the first time? I think it was. Was it the Royal Variety performance, wasn't it, or something? Then you've got John Lennon talking, saying we were performers in Britain, really, and that was it. He always said, you know, once they got famous, the Beatles musicianship sort of like, although they experimented more, if you ever wanted to see the Beatles live, it was best to caught them in the Cavern Club days or the Hamburg days. because obviously when they got famous and everybody went, ah, you couldn't really hear them anyway, could you? Although I think the screaming was a bit louder than that. Then you've got some, like, 1, 2, 3, 4, you've got 5 songs recorded live in Stockholm on the 24th of October 1963, and they are I Saw Her Standing There, For Me to You, Money, That's What I Want, That's What I Want, do, 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 do. Then you've got You Really Got a Hold on Me, love that song, and then you've got Roll Over Beethoven. So that's side 3. Side 4, I'm only telling these because some of you might not got these records, so I hope you don't mind me like going through them track by track. Side 4 is She Loves You Till There Was You and Twist and Shout, and that was recorded at the Prince of Wales Theatre, London, on the 4th of November 1963. Again, they are live recordings. Then we've got this, Boy, I Want to Hold Your Hand, Boys, and then, oh, Boys, What Was I Thinking? So it's not the song Boys. And then you've got Moonlight Bay. Yes, and it is the old song Moonlight Bay. And that was recorded at ATV Studios in Birmingham on the 2nd of December 1963. And that was quite famous at the time because that's when the Beatles performed Moonlight Bay with Morecambe and Wise. Yeah, Eric and Ernie. Then side 4 finishes off with Can't Buy Me Love, which is an early, basically a demo, which was recorded in Pathy Marconi, Paris on the 29th of January 1964. So that is sides 3 and 4. I will just show you again. Side 3. Side 4. So then the tracks on sides 5 and 6 are as follows. If you're sitting comfortably, children. Well, that Jack and Oi, wasn't it? Jack and Oi, yeah. Jack and Oi, tell a story. If you don't know what that was, by the way, that used to be a children's programme here in the UK on BBC at sort of like tea time, and they get like famous people of the time to read stories to children. Side 5 starts off with All My Lovin', and this is the, you know, where they're starting to get really, really famous now, because that was recorded on the 9th of February 1964. Can you guess where it was? CBS television studios, New York, for the Ed Sullivan Show. So like I say, a lot of these recordings, up until this LP came out, you could not get anywhere. Some of them had come out on like really low quality bootleg, but this was like the first time you could officially get most of these records. Then you've got You Can't Do That and I Love Her. They were recorded on the 25th of February 1964 at EMI Studios. Early versions. Then you've got A Hard Day's Night. That was recorded at EMI Studios on the 16th of April 1964. Again, that's like an early run through of the film title song, wasn't it? I mean, it's also, you know, a brilliant single by the Beatles. Then you've got I Want to Be Your Man, Long Tall Salad Boys, and Shout. And Shout, you have got to hear that. If you've never heard it, you have actually got to hear it, because if you listen very carefully, John Lennon says some quite explicit things in some ways, and I don't really know how he got away with it at the time. I don't think they really listened to it. Because shout, everybody bloody shout now, fucking shout now, and things like that. That's what he says. That was recorded at IBC Studios, London, on the 19th of April 1964. Like I say, that was for a TV special. I think it was called Around the Beatles. And then side 5 finishes off with I'll Be Back, which is take 2, and I'll Be Back take 3. So it's basically a run through, or, you know, 2 outtakes of I'll Be Back, which of course was a highlight on the British A Hard Day's Night album, wasn't it? I'll Be Back. You know, if you break my heart I'll go, oh, but I'll be back again. Love that song. Side 6 starts off with a, up until these came out, was an unreleased George Harrison song called You Know What to Do. And, you know, it is like, I think it done Don't Bother Me, Auntie, and then that one, this was supposed to be for Beatles for Sale, but, you know, it remained unreleased basically until this anthology series came out. Then we've got No Reply demo, that they were both recorded at EMI Studios, stroke Abbey Road as we know it now, in London on the 3rd of June 1964. Then you got Mr. Moonlight and Leave My Kitten Alone. Now, I'm not being funny, but I can never really understand why Leave My Kitten Alone wasn't on Beatles for Sale. I think it would have made a lot better song than Mr. Moonlight in a lot of ways. But if you like Mr. Moonlight, you know, that is entirely up to you. This is just my opinion. They were recorded at EMI Studios, London, 14th of August 1964. Then you've got No Reply. No reply, no reply. Again, that was recorded at EMI Studios, London, 30th of September 1964. Again, it's take 2, so it's a unreleased take basically. Then you've got a sequence, which basically is 2 versions of 8 Days a Week. Again, recorded at EMI Studios, London, this time on the 6th of October 1964. Again, they were unreleased takes. And then it finishes off with Kansas City, Hey Hey Hey, and that was recorded at EMI Studios, London on the 18th of October 1964. So basically, this is the beginning of Beatlemania and everything on this. Other interesting fact is, if you get all 3 of these albums and you set them up side by side, it does actually do a really long collage. Like I say, this is an original UK copy, so it is actually quite scarce now. But one thing I will say, there's 3 of these LPs in total. So you've got Anthology 1, Anthology 2, and then you've got Anthology 3, obviously. Now, when this came out, I think a lot of the Beatles fans, including me, went out en masse to buy this. And yes, hearing the snippets of people talking and stuff, it was nice. And even listening to some of the unreleased songs was great, because like I say, there was no streaming devices or anything back then. Or if there was, you know, it was like in the infancy, wasn't it, of the internet and things like that. So, you know, this was like one of the first like legitimate ways that as Beatles fans could get to hear some of these songs. When I first got this album, I played it to death basically, but I bet you in the past 3 years, I bet you I've never played this one. But I've never played that in about 3 years now. The other 2 I still occasionally play. It's a case of, yes, if you're completist and you want everything, you will want this. But the versions on here, most of them were unreleased at the time for good reason, because they don't sound anywhere as good as the ones that are on the official Beatles records. But you've got to remember, some of them were just early takes and demos and things like that. So, you know, all in all, it's a nice album to have. It's one that, you know, if you've never listened to it, it's a must really. But I think you can downstream most of these now, download them. The reissue that came out a few years ago with that magazine that I can never remember the name of. Well, I can remember the name of it, I just can never pronounce it. Diagusi or something, wasn't it? You know them because they've got like a hologram sticker there. So, the Beatles Anthology 1, 3 LP set. Now, when this came out, it was quite expensive. I think it was about £15 or £16, where you think an average album at the time was about £3.50 or £3.99, something like that. So it was actually quite expensive. but we all knew that this was #1 in a series. It was going to be 3, so you're getting basically 9 LPs, aren't you? Look at it that way. And there is some interesting stuff on it. You know, you've got them singing for the first time on Ed Sullivan and things like that. So, you've got some rarities from before they were even famous, before there was even the Beatles in some ways. This also did have a UK catalogue number, because that catalogue number there is like the European one, but the actual UK one was PCSP 727, and it was actually printed in the UK, so it is a genuine UK copy. The issues aren't their European copies. So yeah, if you've got this, you tell me, when was the last time you played it? Out of all of them, I think it's Anthology 2 I'll probably play the most, which we will be coming on to in a future video, so please look out for that one. As always, thank you very much to everybody that is supporting my little channel, whether you're a Beatles fan, you like your records, because this is a record collecting site, or so if you're in the vinyl community and stuff like that, which is a good way of learning about other records as well, or if you're Beatles fan, YouTube record fan, there is usually something for everybody on this channel. Occasionally we do things on other artists as well. I did do a video earlier today on the Kinks, on my Kinks LP collection. Well, as it stands at the minute, it is work in process, to be honest, so I've decided I'm going to get a few more Kinks albums now. Please watch that. It is good, but the video quality isn't that good, because like I say, it's on me crappy old laptop, which I now know I have got to get rid of at some point, because I'm spending time and effort making videos, and while I'm doing it they look brilliant, but as soon as I put it on the telly they pixelate and things like that, and sometimes they go out of sync, so I'm saying something and then all of a sudden it catches up with it. So alright, they are watchable, don't get me wrong, I've seen a lot worse. So that's the first of 3 videos that we're going to do, so look out for the other ones, which will probably be next week now sometime, or maybe even the week after. If you've enjoyed it, this channel is basically an old Beatles fanatic and record collector, just sharing some of my records and some of my stories with you. I haven't really got a story to say about this. All I can remember is when it was announced that this anthology project, as it was called at the time, was going to be on telly. And of course, in them days you'd only really got, like in the UK, BBC One, BBC Two, ITV and Channel 4, I think it was. Might have just had Channel 5, I can't remember. I don't know if Channel 5 was out or not. And you didn't have DVDs or anything like that. You used to have the great big old Ferguson Video Star video recorders. So it was announced that the TV series, which these records are basically from, where the talking in between makes more sense than it does on them records, if that makes sense. Yeah, when it was announced, everybody thought it'd be on the BBC for some reason, and then there goes, no, the first ever TV appearance by the Beatles, as the Beatles, in the UK, was on Granada, who actually recorded him singing Some Other Guy Now in the Cavern Club. So ITV showed the anthology series. I don't think that got anything to do with it, but I can remember, was it Neil Aspinall? He says, it's nice that in one way the Beatles are going back to where they started, with independent TV, which does sort of make sense. I don't know what it came out on in America and other places in the world. I've got the DVD box set now, but what I was going to say, like, at the time this came out, DVDs hadn't really been invented then, and you like video recorders with massive things like that, about that wide and about that long, and you used to press a button and the thing used to come up like that, and you just put your video in and then put down. But you could time them, So I went out and bought all these blank video cassettes and actually taped them all one by one. These when it came on, eight parts or 6 parts or whatever it was, and then watched them. Where the videos went to, I have no idea. Over the mist of time, but I have got the DVD box set down there. So that's like the only story I can really tell you about it. I know I was dead excited when it came out, and I did have the book as well, that massive book that came out as well, but again, over the mists of time, that's disappeared. I probably lent it to somebody and they never gave it me back. So as always, thank you to everybody that's supporting my channel. If you're not subscribed, please think about subscribing. It is free. All you do, you know, if you've liked this video, just leave me a thumbs up. Go down there. If you press the subscription button and the notifications button, then you'll get notifications when I'm doing new videos. I do try and do at least one a week. Sometimes it's a little bit more. Like today, you've had 3 today, and I think you had 2 yesterday, so I am spoiling you a little bit this weekend. But there's a reason for that, because I'm working all next weekend, so you know, you're not going to get, you might get one tomorrow, I don't know, but then after that it's going to be, you know, best part of 10 days before you get anything. So I thought I'd just do this to keep people entertained, because, you know, that's what I'm here for as well, to entertain people. Try and spread a little bit of my knowledge, and if you learn something, you learn something. I do try and be as informative as I can be. Sometimes I will make notes. It's not very often. I think out of the how many videos are on my channel now, I think there's about 3 I've made notes for. So until the next time, love your records, cherish your records, from time to time clean your records, but above all, play your records. I'm going to be playing this in a minute. I'm going to play that George Harrison one first, that I was on about earlier on, and then I'm going to play this. Basically because it's Sunday afternoon, there's not a lot on telly. Grand Prix later, isn't it? So if you're into your Formula 1, it's in Canada, isn't it, today? I'm hoping, I really am hoping, the biggest hope is, you know, ever, that Fernando Alonso, who's starting second on the grid, and is he 40 or 41 now, isn't he, Fernando Alonso? You know, starting second on the grid. I hope he wins the race. If he don't win it, I think at the least, I'm hoping he gets a podium. But we'll have to wait and see, because that don't start till about 8 o'clock or something, does it, tonight? So, as always, thank you, everybody. Peace, love and happiness to you all. Stay safe. Happy Father's Day. So from Beatles Dave in Derbyshire, in the UK, I'm going to wish you all cheerio now. Love, peace, look after one another, and ta-ra for now.